There's 2 papers. All right, so this is page 112. And we're going to talk about inequalities algebraically. So when you're solving inequalities algebraically, there are a few steps. One, you want to make sure one side is less than or greater than 0. 2, you want to factor the quadratic. 3, you want to set the factors equal to 0. 4, you're going to create a number line. That number line is going to represent your x-axis. Okay. 5, you're going to sketch the parabola based on your A, your leading coefficient. If your A is positive, then you have a happy parabola. If your A is negative, then you have a sad parabola. Okay. If it's greater than 0, that means that you're looking for positive y values. So positive y values are going to be above the x-axis. If it says less than 0, that means you're looking for negative y values, which means that you're looking for the values that are below the x-axis. So above the x, below the x, and then you just locate when it happens on the number line. Okay, your paper that you're writing on is in a weird order. I'm going to tell you that right now because I decided last minute not to make you write all this down because I figured it would take us 500 years. So I just printed straight from the PowerPoint. I didn't make a special note page or anything. All right, are we ready to dive in? Here we go. Either we're going to sink or swim. So we have 2x squared minus 12x is less than 0. So 2x squared minus 12x is less than 0. Step 1 is to make sure that it's less than or greater than 0, and it is. So we're good there. Step 2 is to factor. And since this is just a 2-term quadratic, we're going to check to see if there's a GCF. And is there a GCF? Yes, our GCF is what? 2 what? 2x. So I'm going to divide each term by 2x. So we have 2x times x minus 6 is less than 0. Okay. Questions about step 2? Uh-oh. Still good? All right. Now we're on to step 3. So step 3 is you're going to take each factor and set it equal to 0. So I have 2x equals 0, and I have x minus 6 equals 0. And solve for x. So here, x is obviously what? 0. And here, x is positive 6. So I would have to add 6 to get x by itself. Questions about step 3? Good? All right, so at this point, we've just done stuff that we've been doing for the past 2 weeks. So on step 4, that's where you're going to create your number line, your x-axis, and you're going to plot your x values on the x-axis. So I have 0 and I have 6. These are the points where my graph would cross the x-axis. Step 5 is what is your a value? So for this problem, what was our a value? What is our leading coefficient? It is 2. Our leading coefficient is a positive 2. So that lets us know that our quadratic is a happy quadratic. And then 6 is where we answer. So for 6, we're looking for when is it less than 0. So less than 0 means when are you below the x-axis? So I'm going to grab my highlighter, and it's below the x-axis from here to here. And it's continuous, right? So therefore my answer would be it is below the x-axis from 0 to 6. How do we feel about solving the inequality? Okay, questions, comments, concerns? All right, let's try another one. So we have negative 4x squared plus 28x is less than 40. So negative 4x squared plus 28x is less than 40. Step one says that it needs to be either less than or greater than 0. And is this true here? No, it's not, Ms. Jones. And so what do I need to do to make it true? Subtract 40. Just got to subtract 40. So when I subtract 40, I'm left with negative 4x squared plus 28x minus 40 is less than 0. So step one is now done. Step two is to factor till you can't factor no more. So first I'm going to check, is there a GCF? Yes. What is my GCF? Negative 4. Because my leading term is what? Negative. So we are left with x squared minus 7x plus 10 is less than 0. Is this fully factored? When multiplies to give me 10, but adds to give me negative 7. Negative 5 and negative 2. So x minus 5 and x minus 2. Now am I fully factored? Yes. Yes, can't break down no more. Step 3 is to take each factor and set it equal to 0. So we have x minus 5 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. What would x have to be to make this a true statement? For each one. Plus 5. And what would x have to be on the other one? 2. X would have to equal 2. So that information tells me that on my x-axis number line, I would cross the axis at 2 and at 5. So we would cross at 2 and we would cross at 5. The shape of it is determined by our a. And what was the a in our problem? Negative 4. So instead of a happy parabola, we have a sad parabola. So that's what we're analyzing. So 6 is saying we're still less than 0. So we're less than 0, means that we're below the x-axis. So where am I below the x-axis at? To the left of 2 and to the right of 5. Do we see that? So to the left of 2 and to the right of 5 means that x is less than 2 or x is greater than 5. Because it's at below. And they're not connected. So will we write them connected if they're not connected? No. That's where the word or comes into play. How do you feel? Manageable? It's fine. Okay. As you can see, steps 1, 2, and 3 are skills that we've already been working on, right? The new comes from 4, 5, and 6. But 1, 2, and 3 are the previous taught things. All right, so let's just do it again one more time before I ask you to do a couple practice problems. So we have 3x squared minus 9x is less than 0. So 3x squared minus 9x. Step 1 is good to go. Step 2 is to factor, or GCF. And is there a GCF here? Yes. It's 3x, right? So we're going to factor out 3x, and we're left with x minus 3 is less than 0. Okay, now we're going to take each factor and set it equal to 0. So we have 3x equals 0, and we have x minus 3 equals 0. So where do we cross the x-axis at? At 3 and 0. So on our number line, we know that we cross at 0 and we cross at 3. What helps us know how to draw it? Our a. And what is a equal for this problem? A positive 3. So we're drawing a happy parabola. Oh my gosh, that is the best I've drawn all day. I didn't say it was perfect. Okay, so 6 is now, what are we asking ourselves? When are we less than 0? So we're looking for below again. So we're below the x-axis. And this time, again, it's what? Connected. So from 0 to 3. Yes? Yeah? Okay, so there are some practice problems. You guys, if you want to practice, there's some practice problems there. And then there's also the answers to the practice problems, so you can check yourself. Someone said that it was kind of hard to see what 3 and 4 were saying. So if you can't see them, this is what they're saying. 2x squared plus 5x minus 12 is less than or equal to 0. And then x squared minus 2x minus 3 is greater than, not less than, greater than. Yeah, they said the inequalities weren't showing up, so that's what I'm showing you. All right, I'll leave that for y'all to practice and check yourself. If you struggle on the practice problems, please come ask for help in tutorials so that we can go through them and make sure you're comfortable, okay? No, huh? No, we're gonna do the other part.
My little, what is it?